I was 4,000 meters up and falling headfirst at more than 200 kilometers an hour. My mission? To pitch. My mind? Absolutely blank. But what happened next gave me step one of a simple 3-step method for taking control when speaking anxiety hits. To get your brain back, to calm your body, and to remove pressure. Now, I discovered that first step right there in free fall. Now, the plane I had just left was shrinking between my feet rather rapidly. And my brain had been replaced by, well, it had been replaced by one simple thought. Get me out of here. Like now, like all I wanted was to be back on my sofa instantly. But then I saw one small thing, and within seconds, I was speaking. Now, you may never jump out of a plane, but your nervous system does not know the difference between free fall and a frightening presentation, because you get the racing heart, the dry mouth, the blank mind, and that desperate urge to escape. It's always the same alarm. So if I could get my brain back at 200 kilometers an hour, you can get yours back in a conference room on a Tuesday morning. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use all 3 steps. Now, let me take you there. For years, I compared stage fright to a first-time skydiver at the open door asking himself, do I jump or do I stay exactly where I am? Then I got the chance to stop using it as a metaphor. Together with Red Bull Media House, I came up with a pilot. We would interview founders on the way up and then have them pitch in freefall. It's completely mad. But, I loved the idea and it came out of my mind, so I pitched it with enormous passion to anyone who would listen to it. And then a few weeks later, suddenly Red Bull said, okay, let's do it. And I learned a dangerous lesson there, because sometimes people actually believe in your pitch. My first thought was actually not like, wow, but rather, what have I done? Because there was one problem. I was afraid of height. I hated losing control, and I had actually never jumped before. Yeah, but until then, it was simply future Daniel's problem. And then, and there, it suddenly became present Daniel's problem. On the way up with my guest, the co-founder of Runtastic, Florian Schwantner, the turbulences became really serious. And even our jumpers, it was a tandem jump, were discussing should they abort the jump or not. And these guys, they were like not some random jumpers. They were the ones who years later would fly through the tower bridge in wingsuits. Those guys. And they look concerned. And if guys like them look concerned, you kind of pay attention. But the worst moment wasn't actually inside the plane. It arrived 1 second after we left it. So the green light comes on, the straps are tightened, the door opens, and it's go time. And here's the strange part. At the open door, I was calm. I was ready, I was focused, and I thought, okay, I've got this. And then we jumped. So we rotated forward, and between my feet, I could see the plane get very small, very fast. And this is the second fear hit me. Not a bit of fear, but absolute primeval, mad fear. And every part of me just screamed, "Get me out of here." Except there was nowhere to go because I was upside down, falling at more than 200 kilometers an hour. Now, this was in fact the exact moment where I was supposed to become the first person to pitch in freefall. I told everyone I could do that, and in that moment my mind simply went blank. I couldn't think, I couldn't talk. And then something happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw something. And it was a tiny GoPro strapped to the wrist of Marco, who was my tandem jumper. And my brain saw the camera and said, "Camera. I know camera. I can do camera." Because the camera was familiar. The camera felt safe. So the second I looked at it and my brain went, "Camera," I started to talk. And with every word, every sentence I said, the fear from the emotional brain got moved aside and my rational brain started taking over again, because I'd given my brain a new task. Not panic like fucking try and run away, but rather do what you need to do. And you just do that by starting to talk. Now, this became the first step in my method. So step 1, start talking. Of course, I'm going to show you step 2 and step 3, but I would like to show you exactly how it works. So why does step 1 work? See, when you step onto the stage, you stand up in the meeting, or even if it's a call and you hit the unmute button, your job in that second is not to be brilliant. It's not even to feel calm. Your simple job is to begin. And then, after 10 seconds, it usually gets easier. After 20 seconds, the room begins to feel safer. And after 30 seconds, you are so much in. And I've watched this pattern in thousands of pitches. So the hardest part is very often not the actual talk. It's the final moment before the talk begins. Remember this: action interrupts panic. Do not wait to feel ready. Readiness often arrives after you start. This is step 1. Get your brain back. Now, step 2 is calm your body. So what about the 5 minutes before you begin? How do you stop your body from panicking in the first place? Great question, you probably say, right? For that, I use a technique so effective that my Aura Ring once mistook a dentist appointment for a nap. Step 2 is breathing. Now, I do not mean the wonderfully useless advice, "just breathe." I mean a specific signal you can send to your nervous system. So you got to breathe into your belly. And you got to make the out breath, the exhaling, longer than the in breath, than the inhaling. So what I do is often I breathe for 5 seconds in and out for 10. If that feels too long, well, shorten it. It's not exactly about hitting the perfect numbers. It's all about breathing slow from here and slow instead of high and tight from here. It's all about being longer out than in. Now, when fear speeds your body up, this is going to help slow it down. It tells your nervous system, we are safe. There is no saber-toothed tiger in the room. There's just Martin from accounting over there. Now, I learned this technique from a world record apnoe diver, Christian Riedel. And at my last dentist appointment, I used it. I actually used it through a 45-minute procedure. And for fun, I afterwards checked my Aura Ring. And my Aura Ring had logged the dentist as a nap. Because this is how deeply your breathing can change your state of mind. Why? Because the low and slow breathing is something you normally only do before you go to bed, before you are in safety. See? Smart one. This is YouTube, so if you find this useful, please subscribe and leave a comment, because this whole channel is the toolbox I wish I had when I was terrified of speaking. So if you find it's useful, just spread the love. Now, that was step 2. Now let's go to step 3, and that's remove the pressure. And unlike most performance advice, it works even if the presentation goes badly. I call it the happy place. See, most people walk onto stage thinking, this is it. This is the big moment. Everything depends on this. And that turns a presentation into a life or death event. So I give my brain somewhere safe to land afterwards. One good thing waiting for me that has nothing to do with how the talk goes. For example, in 2 hours, I will go home and hug my wife and my 2 kids. Or if I'm traveling, I'll look up the hotel and see if there's a sauna. And I look forward to that. And go, in 2 hours, I'm in the sauna. Or maybe even simply I'll order a pizza. Something simple, something's certain, difficult word. And there is one simple rule. The reward cannot depend on the performance. Not if it goes well, I will deserve it. No conditions. Whatever happens on that stage, the happy place is still waiting. That certainty takes the life or death pressure out of the moment. And when the pressure drops, you can do your best work. So here's your complete kit for your convenience. 1, start talking, because action interrupts panic. 2, breathe low and slow with a longer out breath than an in breath, because you're signaling your body, I am safe. And step 3, choose one good, unconditional thing waiting for you afterwards. Now, you do not need to jump out of a plane to practice this, because I did that part for you. But you do need this to step into the moments that frighten you. The pitch, the interview, the conversation you keep avoiding. Because this is what I brought you back from 4,000 meters. The fear may never disappear completely. It doesn't have to. Fear is energy. Your job is to give it direction. So the next time your heart is pounding and every cell in your body just says, I want to run, take one slow breath and simply start talking. And if part of you still believes that confident speakers are simply born that way, watch the video next. That's going to come up. Or the last one I did. Or the one I linked. You'll find out. Because there, I believe that one lie for almost 30 years that everyone believes. That you have to be born a speaker. Which is not true. That's why I made the video. You got this. Pleasure. Take care. Stay safe and see you next time.